it's that time of the week again, and today I'm joined by Markus. How are you doing, Markus? I'm very good, thank you. Very, very good.
Great. Nice to hear.
So, as always, we kind of do kind of informal introductions. Who are you, Markus?
Well, I'm a web developer, of course, from Sweden. I've been working with Umbraco like since back in 2007 or something.
Okay, so quite a while now.
Yeah. I started out when it was all XSLT and user controls, you know.
Oh, the good old days.
Exactly. That's yeah. And I also do a package. I develop a package that's called Newsletter Studio.
Yep.
So I'm around on different events and meetups and talk about that, and trying to contribute to documentation and issue trackers and stuff. Yeah, okay, just an Umbracian.
An Umbracian, yeah, very nice term. Today we're going to talk about kind of the editor experience in Umbraco.
Yeah.
So at this year's CodeGarden, it was obviously the usual kind of there's the package competition.
Exactly.
And you entered this package that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking I should do a little setup on this one to explain what lent over to this package.
Go for it.
So I'll start by sharing my screen here, as you know, when you log onto Umbraco, when you installed Umbraco 7, this is how your screen would look like. You'll have like a getting started page, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You start to develop your website, and then log on, and this is what you see most of the time. And what I was thinking about is that when you log on as a user, do you know what you see when you log on as an editor without administrator rights?
No, it's been so long since I would have even tried.
No, so actually, this is what you'll see.
So just a box that says change password.
Exactly. So this is the default experience for a editor that logs on to your newly built website. So like So I was thinking that maybe we should try to find something that's more it contains a little bit more information.
Yep.
I was starting to think about this, and my solution to this problem actually led me over to getting this one. So this is this year's prize for winning the package competition.
Ah, okay.
So it's a handmade Umbraco, statue.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's handmade by the HQ, and it's really impressive. It's built with the same love and craftsmanship as do you remember the user controlled grapper?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the same quality. This is how it looks 2 days after.
Oh no, it's all falling apart.
Yeah, it is. I need to find some glue to fix that. But anyway, so my package was really, really simple, and I came up with the idea during CodeGarden, and I started to hack on it during the breaks. And
okay, so you actually done this during CodeGarden, because some of the kind of the ideas that happened during kind of CodeGarden package competition has been like, oh, I've developed this like a month in advance, and I'm gonna kind of launch it or demo it at CodeGarden. But you've actually done this during breaks in the evenings, whatever.
Exactly, and it's a really simple package, and the fact that I won the package competition is more. I think it's more like I found something that we have missed than it's a really good work of craftsmanship. Because what I found was that there's no dashboard. Of course, we need a dashboard in Umbraco, so I created the dashboard.
The dashboard.
Exactly. So there's no need for other dashboards. So this is a really, really simple package. So when you install it, this is what you'll get. Yep. A simple dashboard which will show, first of all, the recent activities on the site.
Yep.
So like, for example, there's two users here. It's me and this guy, Unicorn Smith here. Mm-hmm. And they've been working on some pages, and there's a simple link to that page here. And then you have your own recent activities, so you can just jump back to whatever thing that you've been working on.
Okay, so this is aimed at editors and content, so it's not going to be something like recent activity as maybe as an admin or someone kind of like a web developer setting this up. It's not going to be things like you recently saved the home document type or
Exactly. Not in this not in this version of the package. I've been thinking about maybe we should make it like a extensible, so you can, for example, add if you have Umbraco forms, for example, or edit something there, that you can hook into this and add your own stuff to it.
That would be nice.
Yeah, but this is just like something that I was playing with during CodeGarden, and so it's not that extensible yet. But it has another feature, of course, as well. Except for this too, you can if you log on to like if you work with let's say that we're starting to work with this learn page here.
Yep.
And we change something here. Hello, and then for some reason we don't publish. We just say we just save it.
Yep.
And then when you go back to your dashboard, you will have the unpublished content here, so you will know that there's changes in this document that you didn't publish.
And I presume the other user, or that's available to all users, so the other editor could potentially see that and then either review it, publish it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then there's also some like numbers here. I was trying to find out what you have here, but I mean, I see this as a starting point, because a lot of agencies has their own dashboard. Yep. That they use, and maybe this could be like a common ground for everybody that we can share and customize it for your needs. But so this is some numbers that I found in the system. So
it's definitely useful.
Yeah.
And I like that you mentioned or touched on the point of extensibility in terms of if this is a good starting base that maybe all Umbraco sites should be shipped with, and then, like you said, every site is different and unique. You might want to show different numbers for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Say, for example, our Umbraco, I don't know, you obviously got new members created, but you could have things like number of forum posts created this month.
Exactly.
Or whatever. Something specific to the client's case.
Yeah. So at the moment, you'll have to like download the source which is on GitHub, and then change it and make your own version of it. But in the future, that will definitely be something that we can look at and make sure to implement.
Yeah. And I can understand why this won, just because of simplicity, and that this is something that we need, really. It's a shame that the core or the HQ's kind of potentially forgotten about this, because we had something similar back in the day in version 4 or something. There used to be a dashboard that you could see the recent changes or something. Exactly. It was there, but you had to kind of uncomment it from the dashboards.config or something to that effect.
Okay, yeah. And another thing that's been bothering me about this, because making this dashboard look really nice, one important thing about that is the avatars, Yep. So if you don't have it'll just be this default gravatar thing. So what I've made for this package is a really simple hack around that.
Okay.
So you can actually, if you want to, you have to do this manually, but there's probably ways to code up this if you want to. But if you put a file here in the app plugins folder in the dashboard, and then avatars,
yep.
And then use the same name as the ID of the user, that one will be used instead of the gravatar. You can override it just to make it look nicer. So it's just it has nothing to do with the functionality, but it's something that makes it look a little bit nicer. So hopefully this will work, and then it'll use a picture of a nice picture of you here instead.
That awesome photo of me.
Yeah. So that it's a really silly thing, but it looks nicer to have the face editors
that kind of attention to detail or polish is what clients appreciate at the end of the day.
That's true. And then another thing about this is that when I put this up on GitHub, I got some pull requests from, for example, from Joao Antano from Mindbus in Netherlands. He made some code fixes, and then Andy Butland from London, UK, right?
Yep.
he came up with the idea that maybe we should have the developer dashboard. So that's actually in the latest version of the package. Andy made a pull request to add this section to the developer section in Umbraco. So here you basically see all the event handlers that's hooked up to application events. You see all other event handlers and content finders, surface controllers, and hijack routes and everything. So this is like an overview of what you have implemented in your website.
Because there is cases that you take on maybe another agency's site, it gets inherited, or a project gets inherited.
Yeah.
You get a code base and maybe it's not the easiest of ones to go through. But with this dashboard you could easily see, okay, they've got this event, this event, this event hooked up. Yeah, it's a nice overview of a way just to see kind of what is custom in this kind of Umbraco site.
Yeah, so that's why I decided to include it in the package as well. So what you do is that you just go to the R page and then just download it. It's a really simple install, just a DLL file, and so the installer will handle everything and then configure the dashboard config files so that everything just works.
Awesome.
And if there's someone who has like other ideas of how to extend it, or if there's any other information that should be included or something, just like post an issue on GitHub and we can work together on it to solve it and make it better.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a project that I would like to see a lot of kind of contribution, or I would expect a lot of kind of contribution from the community. Yeah, I think probably a key pull request or key feature would be a nice generic way of kind of extending this. So you ship the dashboard with this kind of default set of stuff. But if I want to put in some, I don't know, say for example, I've got Google Analytics and I want to go and get the last page views from the last 7 days, and I want to put that in the dashboard on the kind of content section. That would be awesome without having to kind of create a custom kind of pull version of the dashboard. So
exactly. I know that's something that we had in mind, but I didn't spend that much time during CodeGarden to make it perfect.
It's basically 3 days, so you've done awesome just to get this out. So
and then 50% of this is built with like 2 beers in the system as well. No.
That means the code is 50% better already then.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more relaxed code.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but so when we were talking about this, this is the package. It's really simple and hopefully very useful. And I guess that's why people liked it during CodeGarden.
Yeah, definitely.
So go ahead and download it and try it and use it, and then let's just work together to build something that's useful for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
When you and I were talking about this, we thought that we could maybe extend this talk into like a more discussion kind of thing about the editor experience in Umbraco overall.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that needs to be thought about, I think. I think some people kind of overlook the editor experience. We just build our site for the client, do what we have to do, just build the site. This is the design or whatever, let's build it. And then sometimes the editor is kind of forgotten about, or it's an afterthought. So definitely making editors or our clients' lives easier or better for them is going to be 1, happier clients, and 2, less phone calls from the client.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but I get a lot of like questions or like clients who's annoyed by, for example, when you take over a project that someone set it up without, like, they didn't really know how to do it in Umbraco, and it's a poor setup, and the client blames Umbraco for that. They say, "Oh, Umbraco don't work. It's a bad."
It's not. We've had that kind of scenario. Yeah, Umbraco is rubbish. It doesn't do what I wanted it to do, and like you say, it may be just misunderstanding of how you can and can't use Umbraco.
Yeah, exactly. And then the editors or the client, they will blame the CMS for not doing what they want, but it's actually the implementation. So that's why it's really important for us, especially if you would like to promote Umbraco.
Yep.
It's really important. So I actually reached out to a couple of community members, for example, Douglas Robar and Christian Steinmeier.
Yep.
Who's been preaching about this, and Douglas, he calls himself Umbraco Superman.
Yeah, Umbraco man or something.
Exactly. He's been doing a couple of talks about usability in Umbraco and what to think about and so on. So I took some inspiration from them, and I put something together that I think, and then Warren, if you add stuff as well, it'd be really good.
Let's just have a discussion. Let's just take it from
there. One thing that Douglas said is why should we as a developer care about the user experience? And he says that it's fun, it's for the fun, for the fame, because the clients will love us, for the glory, and for the money. And that's one thing that I like to think about for this, because if you don't do this job from the beginning, the clients will call you, and they will interrupt you. They will send you emails and ask you questions. So if you do the setup correctly, my experience is that you get a lot less calls.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is good for you. Then you can focus on
the next project or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. So, what's important for the editors? That's something that I've been thinking about, and I don't think it's XSLT, Racer, MVCA, all these acronyms. It's getting things done.
Yeah, for the client or the editor, they don't care what the site is built with, really. They don't care if it's built with less or Razor or XSLT, like you say. They just want to get things done.
Yeah, and then I think that our job as a developer when we set up this is to make sure that they can really get things done. So a couple of things that Douglas was talking about is, for example, ask for less information. Really think about why do we really need this field on this document type? Is it important, or is it something that we don't have to force the user to enter? Mm-hmm. And then use proper namings and descriptions. Really work on the description so that there's no question about what you should do here. It's it should be really simple for the editors. Stuff like using an icon on the document types. Grouping properties by logical tabs for navigation, SEO, settings, whatever. Mm-hmm. So it gets really obvious what's the purpose with these properties. And also, when you put the properties on a document type, try to make it so that the properties appear in the same order in the back office as they do on the front end, if that's possible.
Yes, that makes sense.
I think so as well.
Yeah,
and then
in terms of if this is how my kind of page would look in terms of hierarchy, it's title and some summary, and then the main copy, say for example, or whatever. Yeah. If that's how it's laid on the front end of the site, make sure it's definitely the same order in the back end. If the main content is before the summary or the title, then it just could be confusing.
Yeah, exactly, and it's small, really simple things that we just need to have in mind while we're doing this. And another thing that he points out as well, and I really agree, is that to make all these less choices. For example, the dialogue here to the right is if an editor opens up this, it's what is this? What am I going to create here? Yeah. So one trick, I don't know if you have used that before, but let's say that you're adding something to the root node of the page. Mm-hmm. One trick that I use a lot is let's say that you have a news area, for example. I allow that on the home node, and then I create the news area, and then I take it away again. So you can't add another news area. Okay. Have you tried that before?
No, I haven't actually tried that. So you initially create that page or that job type under said home node or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the document type home and turn off I can only create news pages or whatever, news doc types, and turn it on.
Yeah, and then the editor wouldn't have the option to create it again, if that's not intended.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Then of course there's the issue that they may remove it and then they can't get it back. But there's ways around that as well. You can have like an event handler that prevents that. Yeah. But that's a really neat way to do it. Like a trick that's been around.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
And then just to keep on this one, this is quite obvious, but use the right property editor for the data. When you have a date, don't use a text box to enter the date. Use a date picker. Or when you want to link to something, use a content picker. And and it's really, really nice to spend some time on the R forum and just look at packages, because there's a lot of great property editors out there.
Yeah, there's tons. There's absolutely tons. And if there isn't something that doesn't fit, I think it's the learning curve for creating your own custom property editor to fit the editor's needs. It's quite a steep learning curve to do it, but I think once you know how to do one, it's something that you definitely should consider, rather than kind of munging and mashing something that kind of works for your editor, rather than building something that's going to be make their life easier for data entry if they've got enter 100 of these types of nodes, because there's lots of this type of content. If you can save them a few clicks, they're going to love it.
Exactly. No, so it's not that hard to create it. There's really good tutorials out there as well how to create a property editor. So that's definitely something that I would look at if I haven't done it before. And then another thing, like configure the rich text editor. Hide buttons that you don't need. Use the CSS so that the look and feel of the content in the rich text editor is the same as on the website. Same thing goes for grids as well. Configure it so it's really easy to use it, and spend some time on that one so that you don't have to answer the calls from your clients afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
And this one was really interesting. I don't know what you say, but mandatory fields, is that something that you use a lot?
No. We, the coworkers or as a team, tend to not use mandatory fields and code our stuff in a defensive way. So if the data's not there, the page or that piece of functionality is not going to blow up. So yeah, we avoid it personally. That's our stance on it. If the editor or the content editor forgets to put that data in, either that piece of functionality will just hide, or say for example, I don't know, it's a simple form or something, requires an email address that it's going to send it to. If it doesn't exist, then most likely we'll just hide the form. Rather than the form still appear, the user tries to submit the form and then it blows up. Yes, we can put required in the back office, but it can be annoying for the editors. If they have a valid reason, they don't need it, for example. I don't know.
Exactly, and that's what this is something that I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, but sometimes, the intentional thing that you do is like, oh, I really need the email address here. Let's just make this mandatory. But the thing is that this is something that Douglas was blogging about, and it's like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer no data or bad data? Because if you force someone to enter data, they will enter something like data or something like that.
Yeah.
So, validating that something doesn't exist. Is there any data here or not? Yes, it's data. No, it's not. It's easier than validating that if yada@yada.com is a valid email, or if it's something that really exists. So you have data, but it's not valid, and then it's impossible to validate it. So after this, I really agree with, like, making things optional instead of mandatory is a good way, and then handling, like you said, in your code, handle the situations where there's nothing in there.
Yeah, it's a different mindset of thinking, and it does take some practice. But yeah, like that says, would you prefer that the user has just skipped over that field, or you've made, I don't know, an employee section and you've asked that the telephone number for that person is required, and for whatever reason, I don't know, the cleaner, for example, in the company, he doesn't have a telephone number because he only does like evenings, for example.
Yeah.
You don't want the user to be forced to put in something like 00000.
Exactly.
It just doesn't be entered.
No. Now, so that's a couple of things that I've picked up during my when I was doing research for this, and things that I've felt myself as well when developing websites. And then I had a couple of examples of packages that helps out, and I've installed some of them so that we can have a look at them to just get a idea of what they do. First of all, I know that you had a show on the nested content package.
Yeah, it's quite a while back, but it's always nice to get a refresher.
It's something that I really love, and it's a really cool package that takes a document type that you configure. So let's say in this example, I made a carousel here. So I made a carousel item document type. And I put some generic properties on this one. So now it's really slow, I don't know why. But it's like a headline, an image, and a link. And then I put that using this nested content package. You can create an experience that look like this. So you can just drag around those fields, and then when you work on them, you have the properties from your document type.
Yeah, it's really nice. So obviously the traditional, the kind of the old pattern way would be that you probably have in your content tree, you'd maybe have a folder that is, I don't know, carousel items.
Exactly.
Carousel section, another item that you put there in the first carousel item. It would live in the tree, and it would necessarily kind of bloat the tree, and then you would have a content picker that would go and pick the carousel items that you want. I think this is a nicer experience. It involves less clicks. I haven't got to go to the kind of the other folder, right click, create a node, fill that in, save and publish that one, go back to the home node, then go and pick that one that I've just created. This is a lot faster in terms of content entry.
Yeah. Then you can use it here. I created another version with snippets. So let's say that you have like you want the editors to be able to insert like stuff in the header or something. I mean, this is a really, really simple way, and I'm using a third-party property editor here as well. This code editor here, so it supports all the property editors that you have in your installation, basically, which is really nice. And then there's another thing called inline HTML help label. I'm going to show you this. So it's this one. That's another really simple package that looks like this. So you can just configure a help text and then have a show more dialogue here.
Okay.
So really, if there's something that's really complicated and you can't explain it inside of the description field, you can add this one as a property.
Yeah, so you could put in some, I don't know, images or some kind of step one, kind of do this and make sure you put this field in or whatever.
Yeah.
Put in some descriptive help.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've seen this package. It's called Stately, and what it does is that it adds a dashboard in the settings section where you can like configure different properties on your document type. So let's Umbraco navihide property. If that property is set to true, it's gonna show this icon in the content tree.
Okay. So what, it overlays it over the top?
Yeah, I'm going to show you here. So if I go to the properties here and then use this hiding navigation and save, so it's going to add a small little icon to. Doesn't look that good right now, but it's. I think it's quite useful to get a fast overview of what's unpublished right now.
Yep.
or sorry, what's hidden in the navigation.
So how did you get to that stately section?
It's in settings, and then as a dashboard here.
Okay.
So it's a simple package, just a download and install. Works really good. Not sure if my choice of icon was the best one, but you get the,
that's fine.
Right? Another thing that's been a small buzz around, but I really love it. It's the Umbraco bookshelf. Have you tried it?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
It's a section, a custom section where you can create your own, like a documentation for the website, and it's done with the markdown files. So here is the manual for Umbraco, for example, that I've installed. So the editors can just read everything here in the back office. And if you have like a custom package, or if you have stuff that you want to write help about, you can just add your own custom stuff to this bookshelf.
Nice.
It's really, really cool. And this one is one of my favorites. Switcher, it's called. It's a really simple property editor that makes that just adds a switch like this.
But it's the real subtle things that just kind of...
It's true and false, but it looks good.
Yep. So I presume you can customize the label for kind of yes or no, or true or false, or in that case, stop or run?
Yeah, exactly. It has a couple of settings on it. And the last one that I wanted to show here is one that I used here. So it's actually just a CM separator. That's the name of it. CM separator, a really simple package that just separates properties on a tab. So this is the headline that's added by the CM separator, and that's the only thing that this package does.
Okay, so it's literally kind of like a grouping kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that. It's just a headline. So I mean, if you have different things, if you have which you shouldn't have, but you maybe you have that, a lot of properties on a tab, and then you can just divide them with a headline or something like that, instead of just all of them showing up after one another.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's a little simple package, and then there's a lot of others as well. But I figured that we don't have all the afternoon to show all of them.
No, we don't unfortunately have all the time, but. So obviously you got some listed there. Back office tweaking. I don't know that one.
No, it's a cool package that claims that you can like hide the tabs. Let's say that you have a tab on a document type that only administrators should be able to access.
Okay, so
but this package makes it possible to hide stuff like that, and to hide certain properties as well.
So you might have some kind of, I don't know, an API key for, I don't know, YouTube, for example.
That's a good example.
An admin would probably only want to enter that once, but maybe Joe Blogs, the kind of generic kind of content editor, doesn't really need to care about that API key or ever change it. So that would be a good choice to kind of hide it.
Exactly. That's a really good example. And then SEO Checker, of course. I don't know if you used it, but it's a package from Rickard Suterman, which makes the CEO work really simple, and it checks for a lot of common mistakes that editors do while they're trying to optimize the pages. And it works with 404s and 30, all these redirects and everything. You have the doc type grid editor as well.
Grid editor. You'd have to remind me on that one.
It's a cool package that like a grid editor that you can use with document types. Also, it's hard to explain. I should have included a screenshot or something, but
so is it using? I think I vaguely know of this one. So it's the grid editor, and if I want to insert, say like the carousel item that we just looked at, if I wanted to insert a carousel item, I can kind of do that in line. Yes, is that right?
Yeah. I think it's exactly that's how it's worked. I'm not 100% sure about the configuration. It was a while ago that I used it, but.
And this is a new one that I've not heard of. U-Bolt content picker.
Exactly. That's a simple extension of the current one.
So what makes this any different?
It's just that you can choose like a starting node in the. So let's say that you want to start from somewhere deeper down the tree.
Yep.
So it's a really simple thing, and then Warto as well, or how is it pronounced?
Yeah, I would say
Warto.
Vorto. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So that's for one-to-one translations.
Yeah, that's a nice package that takes literally any or your entire document type and allows you to have translations for all of the property editors that are on that page or that node.
Yeah, I thought we should jump back to the doc type grid editor because I was we were probably like messing it up.
Have we totally described it wrong?
No, but it's a grid editor for the grid, right?
It's a grid editor
what it does
for the grid.
Yeah, it is for the grid. And what it does is that it's a similar thing to nested content, but for the grid editor. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Or did that just make it even more?
No, I think I follow.
Confusing?
No.
So you can just, let's say that you have a carousel in the grid.
Yep.
And you would like to have carousel items in there. You can take a document type, configure your carousel item, and then use this doc type grid editor to be able to add items to your carousel inside of the grid.
Okay, yeah. So I haven't got to kind of switch away, go back to section.
No, exactly. Didn't you have like a show on that one as
Probably.
well? Yeah, probably.
My memory's terrible, dude. I'm getting old.
No, you're not. So yeah, that's basically what I had today.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely some good kind of advice and pointers. There's tons of stuff that we can kind of do as developers.
Exactly.
But I'm just gonna see if there's any kind of questions floating in whilst we kind of chat. But so out of kind of that mix of stuff, what do you do personally on your projects? So kind of what techniques do you use?
In terms of
for kind of so now, like say if you started a new project tomorrow, what things would you kind of want to include? So would it be things like the dashboard and like what?
Of course, I've used the dashboard. Of course, I made it. No, actually, a lot of the packages that I was talking about, I use them, and I use SEO checker a lot as well. Yep. It's a really nice because it's stuff like just making sure that forcing a subdomain if you want to have the www dot yada yada stuff like that is. It's made so easy by that package. So, and then, when you rename something, that's something that should be in the core. But if you have a web page called like product, and then you rename it to products, that would change the URL. And if there's an old link to the product page, it won't redirect automatically. So that's something that the SEO checker adds as well.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't used SEO checker for a long time. It seems like Richard's put a lot of effort and kind of time into it, and it's does a lot more than what I remember from what it originally did.
Yeah, some of those things should be in the core. For example, the renaming things should be in the core. That's something that I think, but it makes some stuff really easy. And the nested content document type is also property editor is also really, really good. That's something that I'm using. But basically, I mean, the basic thing is to make sure that you have a good structure of your document types and that you have good descriptions and good naming and tabs that's intuitive for the users. And that's where everything starts, I think.
Yeah. So what's your kind of stance on document types with too many tabs? Too many properties? Is your kind of structure, I'd rather create more document types that have fewer properties and kind of more specific, or kind of something that's more generic and broad and then that does like too much stuff?
It depends on what kind of content there is and what kind of site, but I tend to use like a root node where I put like, you know, site settings and stuff like that. For example, like a phone number and like a generic email and the address of the company and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I have like a document type for example, for SEO. And then I use the, I don't remember the name of the feature. You know that it merges those.
It used to be called mixins, but
compositions. That's
composition is now.
Yeah.
The word, yes.
So I use compositions to put that together, and it works really good. But I guess that's as long as it's something that makes sense. You can't have too much properties. But if you have too much properties, it's kind of likely that they don't make sense. So
yeah, I think there's a fine balance.
Yeah. How do you work? How do you use different document types or?
We would probably maybe create granular document types sometimes. Again, it depends on the project and the structure, but yeah, there might be more document types, but with fewer kind of properties rather than something that's kind of one or fewer document types, but with more properties. That's kind of, it can do this in this scenario and it can do that in this scenario. If this set of properties are filled out, it now is going to do this and so on. So yeah, it does vary from project to project really, but
the typical answer, it depends.
It depends.
We could do a show.
Yeah.
Like every answer should start with it depends.
It depends.
Yeah. I don't know, but I guess that if you're using the dashboard, you're actually like 85% there. So installing it will solve a lot of problems.
No, I definitely think it will. Because like you showed at the beginning, it's kind of probably quite daunting for a first-time content editor to log in. They just log in, and then there's this tree of stuff on the left, and there's just this thing on the right that just says change password.
Exactly.
Why do I want to change my password? I've just logged in. What?
Yeah.
What?
And then when you log in for the 100th time, it's still the same.
It's still the same, and I don't really want to change my password today.
No, so there's room for improvements. Yeah.
Definitely. Is there anything else that you want to kind of go over before we kind of wrap up?
Feels like I'm kind of done.
Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on some good kind of basics in terms of like, most of it is probably common sense, 90% of it.
It is, and it's really, really basic, but you'll get surprised how many people that don't do this.
Yeah, the fine little details, attention to details, does make all the difference. It may take you another, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, whatever. It might make you that little bit longer in your day just to do them, but the reward in terms of the client not bothering you is going to pay off. Yeah,
not bothering you, exactly, yeah. Now that's really, really true. And then making their life easier. They will be happy about that's your project, and like, it's really simple to use this, and it's so good.
Yeah, and that's a good normally testament to that you've done well, and that kind of Umbraco is doing well as a general, is that you hand it over to the client for the first time, and you kind of sit back and just see if they can figure it out by themselves. And if they can, then you've done a really, really good job. If you have to have kind of very little input to kind of show them this is how you use your site, this is what you do, then you know you've done a good job.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
I think we're going to wrap up there. I'm going to go and grab something to eat. And it's been great talking to you, Markus.
Yeah,
and hopefully we'll see you at the Umbraco UK Festival.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Excellent.
Take care.
You too, mate. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.